So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend, I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week has honestly continued to be pretty lackluster regarding NBA news in the basketball world, but we do have the FIBA World Cup coming up, and the teams have begun their preparation for that, so we still have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank 1v1me for sponsoring today's video. 1v1me is the best platform to stake on esports, running over 50 events every single week, with the best players in NBA 2K, Madden, UFC 4, and FIFA to stake on. Matches are being run all day, so there's always something to stake on, and with over $10 million already paid out and a 4.8 star rating with thousands of reviews, you could be next. You start by finding a match you'd like to stake on, research the players, place your stake, and watch to see if the player you stake on wins. You can find 1v1me on the iOS App Store or online at 1v1me.com, linked down below in the description, but you have to be 18 years of age or older to play. Plus, when you sign up using code HOOPS, you get $10 added to your first stake. Esports, especially with the games revolving around sports, are bigger than ever, so 1v1me is perfect for all of you who already enjoy that space. Once again, thank you to 1v1me for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Rochi, and he says that the Lakers are going to regret giving Anthony Davis the extension that he just received. So, in case you missed the news, Anthony Davis and the Los Angeles Lakers just came to an agreement extending his contract for 3 more years, paying him $186 million in that span, making it the biggest contract on an annual basis ever given out in NBA history. The extension keeps him in LA through 2028, so after a lot of questioning whether or not the Lakers would change directions after LeBron James' time with the team comes to an end, they clearly answered that with an emphatic no. Committing to Davis for 5 more years total means that even if this is LeBron's last season with the team, they still believe they can stay in contention with a team built around Davis, but whether or not that's actually realistic is another story. For one, Davis has been in and out of the lineup with injuries a lot in his time as a Laker, missing 136 games through 4 seasons with the team due to injury, and with him now being 30 years old, it's hard to imagine that trend slowing down. The Lakers have also committed to players like Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent past this season, which is a solid core of role players, but it's a lot different with LeBron than it is without him. We've seen Davis perform in the role of the number 1 option go-to guy when he was in New Orleans, and he individually was elite both offensively and defensively, but as the number 1 option, his teams only won 1 single playoff series there. So to be honest, he is best served as a number 2 alongside another star. He's being paid like a number 1 for sure, but then again, this is the Lakers we're talking about here, and you can never really count them out of any big name player sweepstakes, having the historic appeal as a franchise, along with the dream location that most players would want to live in regardless. They'll have the means to free up max cap space post-LeBron, so if Davis can't handle being the number 1 guy, they'll have the means to bring in another top-tier free agent, so while yes, on paper, this seems like the kind of contract extension that could prove to be a big overpay, I think the alternative of letting him leave would have been way worse for the team, and they have plenty of ways to stay relevant with him under contract. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from FRMC, and he says that there is going to be a new MVP this season, and his pick for who that guy will be is Luka Doncic. With the MVP award, we've literally had the same exact race 3 seasons in a row now, with Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid finishing top 2 in the voting each of the last 3 years, with Jokic taking home the award twice and Embiid taking it home this past season. Even before this most recent 3-year run, we had a 3-year run where James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo were vying against each other for the award, finishing top 2 several seasons in a row, and both of them winning it. I get it. As a fan, we want there to be some spice and some intrigue with these kinds of things, especially because the MVP is the most prestigious individual award there is. But as always, we have to actually think about this logically and not just based on what we want to happen. Regarding Luka Doncic, I think we can all agree that he is one of the guys who will be next in line to start dominating these MVP conversations as a 24-year-old already putting up historically great production. The question then becomes when he will start to take that leap and be a legitimate MVP candidate. To win MVP, not only do you have to individually be great, but you also, more often than not, need to be leading your team to positioning near the top of the standings, and that's what Luka and the Mavericks have yet to accomplish. The Mavericks are coming off of a season where they missed the playoffs entirely, and while I really do like what they've done this offseason to bounce back, I think the West is setting up to be very tough, and it's not going to be easy to not only break back into the playoff picture, but also secure a top seed. Then you have to look at what the other regulars in the MVP conversation have been doing lately, and ask yourself if they're going to go anywhere. Nikola Jokic is coming off of a championship season, and there's nothing pointing to him or the Nuggets slowing down. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks had a disappointing showing in the playoffs, but realistically, they should still be one of the top teams in the East, so Giannis probably won't be going anywhere either. Joel Embiid may be the most likely of this group to drop down a few spots in the running because of all of the question marks that are still present in Philadelphia, but even still, his individual production is still going to be dominant. I'm a firm believer that Luka's time will come, I'm just not sure it's going to come as soon as this season. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Juanito, and he says that the Warriors are going to regret trading Jordan Poole after he breaks out this year with the Wizards. After shipping out Poole, this seems to be how a lot of people feel about the situation, as most view the trade as a mistake by the Warriors. Poole is an incredibly talented 24-year-old, so giving up on him so early does seem a bit rash by the Warriors, but I've said before that I actually think this was the right move for the Warriors for a few reasons. The biggest reason is that the Warriors' full focus needs to be on contending to the best of their abilities for as long as Steph Curry is playing at a high level. The Warriors did win a championship with Poole playing a role in their success in 2022, but a lot of the teams around them got better and passed them up last season, and Poole himself is still way too inconsistent and erratic to be fully trusted on the big stage. Poole was getting benched in the playoffs at times because his defense is almost non-existent and his decision-making can be very questionable, and while he's definitely capable of heating up and putting up a ton of points, he's also someone who can shoot you out of a game. I think a team like the Wizards are actually way more ideal for Poole's development as well, because he won't be under constant pressure like he was in Golden State, and he can play with more of a green light at all times. Then for the Warriors, they're getting a veteran in Chris Paul who plays selfless basketball as a playmaker, and at this point in his career is hungrier than ever to win a championship. I view it as a win-win both ways because Paul fits more into what the Warriors need right now, and Poole can play more freely as a go-to guy. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.